talking about Rachel Lynett's well-intentioned white people.
Such a great conversation starter.
You know, there's a problem and everybody has their own feeling about it.
2 pages where it's like, it happened to us. I was like, oh no! Like,
yeah, like she was trying to disqualify the experience of that war just because your parents were from the Caribbean.
That is the most grounding, realistic, tangible thing that anyone can do.
Yeah, I'm really comfortable with not calling the cops when I have a problem.
Or the Ku Klux Klanner, but the white moderate who is more devoted to order than to justice.
I mean, everybody pretty much had good points, but it's the intention behind saying the word. Like, all of this is about intention, and it's about intention and also being really comfortable. I think that for Dean West and even for Mara, it's just a comfort level, but it's more so because of who Cass is, because Cass isn't going to slap the mess out of you when you say it. You know, it's a comfort level. And you know, a lot of it reminded me of, yeah, well, it's in a rap song. And the thing is, I think what always gets me about the N-word, it's like, the rule is just the rule. We don't want anyone to really say it. But for us, for Black people who have been stripped of identity and had to take words and certain things and ingrain it into their identity for it to mean something different, it can never mean anything else for anybody else.
Right.
Does that make sense? It just can't. And I think that it's because it has that power. I feel like a lot of people who aren't Black just want to say it just to feel down or just to feel comfortable or just to see what you're going to do. Because when you are one of the good ones, you get pushed like that. You get tapped, you know. And Dean West has so many. That character has so much power over Cass that I have the ability to tell you this and say it to you, and you can't react. You know, what are you willing to take for this job? And to me, it's just all about what's the intention behind the word, or what's the comfort level. And I just wish we would stop. It's something I wish we would stop arguing about. The rule is the rule, and let it be. And you shouldn't want to say it. You know what I mean? Other people shouldn't want to say it. For Black people, it means something different, and that should be okay. Does that make, you know?
Yeah, no, I think you hit on a really important point. The relationship of Cass and Dean West, and that Dean West has that power over her with the tenure, which he constantly brings up. And then with Mara, Cass does try to handle it well because she knows Mara has a history of protesting stuff. But also, if Cass reacts probably how she might want to, or how would be, like slapping the piss out of her, all of a sudden you become the stereotype of the angry Black woman, and that doesn't help Cass's case at all either.
Yeah, especially when you're at higher levels, meaning professionally or socially, you tend to get comfortable letting specifically white people say it because you don't want to fuck up anything for yourself. You know, does that make, like, that's true? I've been in that situation at college. Like, if I spaz out, I'm the one that's gonna get kicked out of college. And then we just get comfortable. You know, you can be comfortable with having the same conversation.
I think it's similar to what Cass says. seeing the word, when she first sees it, she's at shock, she's hurt, she has all these feelings. But as time goes on, she's numb to it. And it's similar being numb to all of the moments where you want to lash out, where you feel hurt. Because some people will just say, "Oh, you're the crazy angry Black person." Like, no, I have reasons. I'm justified because you would be the same if this was happening to you. But
Right.
some people just don't get it. I think Andre's hitting that right on the freaking right there.
Definitely. 100. I mean, let me tell you, I could tell y'all a quick story of a crazy thing that happened to me. One time, like this was years ago. This was like I was like 18 or 19. I got like a little part-time job. And at this part-time, it was like a temporary job. I was working at Huntington Learning Center. I don't care. And in Oradell, New Jersey. Now I got this job in Oradell, New Jersey because I was going to Fairleigh Dickinson and Teaneck. So I wanted to go to school and work around the same place. So while I was working there, an Indian girl got hired. Okay, I don't even know if she was white. I'm gonna say she was white, but I kind of feel like she was Spanish, but I feel like she wasn't in touch with her Spanish side. You know, like I don't feel like she was, I feel like she felt like she was white. But anyway, there was a conversation that been had. I don't know how this conversation came up. Now it's the three of us. Now it's already an odd couple, Black, Indian, and Spanish. I don't know. And she was like, "Oh yeah," she tells the Indian girl, "Oh yeah, tell her the joke," because she know it's a no-no word. But she was pushing the Indian girl to tell me because I guess she felt like because she's another brown person, it's okay if she say it. So she goes, "Oh yeah, did you ever hear that they call?" And the Indian girl said to me, "Did you ever hear that they say that they call Indian girls sand niggas?" I was like, "What?" I didn't even know how to respond because basically I think they thought I was going to think, "What? What did you think I was about to? What did you think was about to happen right here? Like, did you think we just made a connection?" Like, it's crazy the way people think and what they think they can say and what they think is funny. It was like, ha ha ha. Like, I'm looking like I'm still trying to wipe off this desk. Like, girl, you done turned me all the way off. What are we talking about? And why are we talking about it? And that goes to what Andre was saying. It's some kind of comfort level. Like, what are you doing? Why are we doing this? We're in a what do you call it? Like a professional environment. And these are kind of jokes you and your little friend was talking about. I mean, what is going on in people's mind? And that was freaking 10 years ago. You get what I'm saying? Look how far we haven't come. Look how far we haven't come. Me in my real life have to deal with stuff like that. I'm like, first of all, you will, even as an Indian woman, you still don't understand the impact of that word. That word is so strong that it was originally used to offend us and it got ingrained into our entire culture that we started calling each other that. And you think that's okay to joke about? It's crazy. I'm trying to tell you. Life is very, very crazy. It's the microaggressions, it's the environment, it's the comfort level. It's like, "Oh, girl, let's get on this level." No, you ain't gonna say that with me because then you might start thinking, "Oh, in another scenario, you could start saying it now because I let you get away with it that first time." You know what I mean?
And
I
you
was like,
feel
"No, we're
stupid.
friends. We're not talking anymore. Let's get to work." Like, but what were they trying to do? I always be thinking, were they trying to get a reaction out of me? You know what I'm saying? You just never know what's going on.
Be intention.
I'm like, I didn't even know what to say. And I felt like,
Wait,
Cass,
hold on. Sorry.
am I going to tell the boss? Am I going to make a big fuss about it? Am I
No,
going
because
to
you would have got
fight
fired.
you over it? You know what I'm saying? Are you insulting me? Are you joking with me? I don't know what the hell is going on. You know what I'm saying? It's people got to get it together. People have to get it together.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Audrey, go.
Oh, I don't. It's not a fully formed thought anymore.
Did
Girl, I
I
get
mess
those
your
all the
It's
thought up?
okay.
I'm
time.
I
sorry.
got wrapped up.
'Cause
I got
just
wrapped up.
jumped
No, no,
in
no,
there,
no,
'cause
no,
that
no,
made
no.
No,
me
it's
think
okay. It was.
No, it never really was. Let's be real. Sometimes I get like floaters of thoughts. No, I
Same.
was wondering about like if the PC culture of colleges now is like, does it have an effect on situations like this? Like, would it, if that wasn't really a thing, if we were just like, because the PC thing is to make everyone feel included and like safe and comfortable, but when someone isn't, that's the time when it's like everyone goes into like hyper mode to
yeah.
like shut down, like shut down anything that's uncomfortable, but you're only making the problem that much worse. So it's like no one can actually talk about the problems, but like we're just trying to accommodate certain things, I guess. And it's like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I like, would it make a difference if that weren't the case? Like, if we can go, okay, we see all this stuff, we see what we're trying to do with it, but now, shall we address the elephants in the room? Like the actual issues. I don't know. I
Right.
don't
That's a
know.
good point.
Well, it's something that Cass does state in the play where she says like it would almost be easier if we were in a backwoods redneck red state town where
right.
the racism is overt and you can fight it head on. But when
Right.
Yeah.
kind
You're
of,
like, I know what you think.
yeah, it's a lot easier
The
to
lines are drawn clearly.
Mhm.
and sometimes it's a lot easier to have that fight and have that disagreement when you know as Anastasia said, where the lines are drawn. And in this world, everybody is so well intentioned that it's hard to get into a fight with someone when you know they're coming from a good place. And I think you see a lot of that with Cass and her relationships with everybody in the play. And you have like Viv and Parker where it's a little bit more like the lines are a little bit clearer, but they're coming at it from a space of being a friend and being a partner. Tyler, go ahead. I saw your hand pop up.
No, just kind of jumping off of what you guys are talking about. It is easier when you, I mean, I'm not speaking for the world of academia, but it is easier when you're in a more racist area of a state. Like, for example, I'm born and raised in Ohio, went to college in Ohio. Where I went to college was an incredibly liberal school. And in that sense, it's as if some people didn't feel like, oh, we're not a racist school. We're not a sexist school. We are not any of that. And when you already bill yourself as that, but those things still happen, but you don't nit them in the butt as much because you want to maintain this. Oh, the majority of us are liberal. The majority of us are these non-sexist, non-racist people.
Yeah,
Like
it's
a
such
great
a
example,
facade situation.
it's a facade situation. And when you are like a very liberal school, not to shit on my school, love my school. The people I'm surrounded by were incredibly cool, liberal, and were chill with me. But when you speak for the school as a whole, like I know that things specifically, because this place takes place after Trump was elected, and they have very clear references to the things that Trump wanted to build upon to this country. Once Trump was elected, I had already graduated college, and I know from future students who graduated later after I did, they were like, "Oh, there are more like Trump supporters on this campus. There are more people who are catcalling and are being really sexually aggressive to people on this campus." But my school was still consistently billed as a liberal, like inclusive school. But I knew that these things were escalating. But yet they still continue to build this thing. They bill it as such a way. The most that they would probably do is send an email to remind people, like, don't forget, we're inclusive. Don't forget, tell your students, no hate on this campus, which isn't gonna do shit. Similar to what happens to Cass. Several violent, rude, disgusting attacks happen to Cass, and she gets a whole equality day or equality week later on. But still, it's how liberal schools want to build themselves as we are a thing of love and support. We care. Well, if you care, you'll do something, not say something.
Right.
Simple as that.
I find it really interesting that they can't name it, which is really like they can't name the reason for the attack. Like they say it a couple of times, but when you look at Equality Day and then Unity Week, it's not just, oh, we need to deal with this specific racist attack. It's, oh no, we're gonna deal with this and also bring in Parker, Latin, and Wood,
understand that.
and also Cass is queer, so we need to cover that aspect of it, and we're gonna bring
immigration, refugee, like what?
Yeah,
it's almost like an all lives matter sort of vibe. Like
it does, like it's
one bubble.
Discuss one specific problem when your answer is to be so inclusive to everything. And I think it's something that, again, that Rachel touches on very, very well with this, of like, she has Cass as one of the character who says it, where it's like, this wasn't an attack on me because I'm queer. This was an attack on me because of my skin color, and we're not talking about that. Or Dean. I love Dean West referencing that they went to Howard for a semester is probably one of the best things, because it's like, oh yeah, so you. It's like knowing. It's like when you're like, oh yes, I know all of the wine tastings because I spent 3 weeks in France. It's like, it does not make you the person that you might think you are. But I do want to move on to the next question to talk to you guys about, which is more on the acting side of it, which is the playwright uses moments, shifts, and pauses throughout the play, and does delineate between them in the notes beforehand. I want to ask y'all, as an actor, how would you utilize them? How do you think they are? How do you utilize the techniques to influence your work through the play? So just to give you guys the idea, moments are, she uses moment and shift instead of beat. So a moment is a chance for a character to back and reassess. It's taking a breath and planning the next move. Shifts are active. It's actively playing what they want. So knowing that going into it, how would that influence your work?
So yes, I don't mind it personally, because when you see the delineation between a moment, a shift, and a pause, you know that if you choose to, this is dependent on each actor, you can choose to let it influence your next choice, your next action. So a prime example that we have, well, I mean, I have it right in front of me because I was looking at it as a reference. It's after Dean West says the line, I would be beside myself if I came to my car and the N-word was on it. Cass tries to process what happened. A moment. What she's doing is she is breathing in, wow, you really just said that. Oh my God, you just said that. Realizing that that Dean West said this. This is a person of power. I'm trying to get tenure. She says, I appreciate your concern and support, Dean West. It's not a shift. It is, yes, I take in what happened. Yes, I acknowledge what happened. What do I do about it? Which is something we do as people. It is something we very much do as people. Someone said something that is downright something I don't want to hear, something that I don't want to acknowledge, but I have to save face. You take it in, it happened, continue on, but acknowledge that it happened. A shift is just, okay, we're talking about this. You know what? We're not getting anywhere with this. let's change modes. Let's change modes. You want to change either intention, you want to change action because what you're doing clearly isn't working. Change the subject. That's a change of action. That's a change of keeping people involved. And then a pause is just a reflection. That's how I treat pauses. Pauses to me are the weakest of the two because pauses are just, all right, here we go. Whether it's a moment or not, it's just taking in that it happened. Not taking in the whole moment, but taking in what you just said. And that's a personal thing. That's how I personally approach a pause. But moments and shifts are specifically active. Yes, shift is the most active, but I think moments, once you think of it in an actor's perspective, it can be very, very strong and very powerful. And a moment will happen.
I love the idea of moments and shifts and pauses instead of just the general beat for an actor. I think it's really brilliant, and I will probably try to, in the future, reading other works, think about, is this beat a moment or is this beat a shift in the scene, and how that would make me then read the next line and respond and listen within the scene. Not just in this play, but any of the other play. It's a great way to differentiate what's going on in the scene. And a lot of times, as actors, you think of like different tactics to get to your objective. And when like you try one thing, so you're going to try like seducing someone, and then that's not working. So then you shift to a different thing, and now I'm going to yell at them about it. And you know what I mean? And I think that's a really brilliant way, versus like a moment is like, okay, that seduction line didn't work, so let me try a little harder in the same way. Like, you know, like not fully shifting the action that you're doing in the scene. And I think that's really interesting to think of from an actor's perspective, and how the characters move through the play.
I would have to agree. I felt the same way. Like, actually, this is the first time I've seen this and written like this. I never seen it, but it helps. I feel like it's a little bit of a guide, like, because you know, okay, if you know that moment's coming, actually helps you take that breath that you probably already need and build up to what where you want to go. I love the moments because I feel like I have moments in real life where I just have to stop and think like, okay, what do I really want to say to this person to get them to understand me or whatever? So moments are that's gonna last in my life for the rest of my life. I love them. The shifts I think are important, and it's important for an actor. And it's to me, it's a shift is like is a way to change the subject in an abrupt way. Like, because my character Cass was shifting because she was like, don't y'all see that I don't want to talk about this? Let's talk about work. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about anything else but this. And it's a hard change. And you would think the other characters would pick up on it, but they weren't. Either they were picking up on it and ignoring it, or they just was like, we're not shifting this topic. So it really, having that direction helped me to get through it and figure out where I wanted to go. Gave me that moment to take a breath and actually get myself together to go to the next place. I wasn't really sure about the pause. I would say that because I kind of felt like that's a beat. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard for me to kind of like figure out how I'm gonna go with it. But you know, that's something I could work on, you know. But yeah, it was different. I liked it. I like that. I like direction. Like, tell me exactly what you want me to do. I don't want to make the choice.
Yeah, I actually think it's a very good compromise between, as we've read a couple different plays and we see how different playwrights write their beats. And I think it's a really good compromise between someone just saying, as Amanda said, beat and not really giving you any direction, versus someone who then does like responds angrily with force, and you're like, okay, well, you're not letting me as an actor make a decision. In this one, like, I think she does a really good balance of there is a shift. We want to acknowledge the shift, but how you decide to use that shift is kind of up to your discretion, which I think is really smart.
It's also cool to think about a shift as in it could be a shift in power in the scene. It could also be in terms of how the playwright wants the tension to build versus like just ending it because easily any of these things, Cass could just scream at everybody and then obviously be the stereotyped angry Black woman throughout the whole play, which is not the playwright's intention.
Right.
To justify that stereotype in any way. But so in terms of having like moments, it's to like, okay, let me reconfigure this, and then the scene kind of has either more tension or build in a different way than just screaming the entire time. It's different ways to make this scene have an arc, different ways to make the different scenes have that tension and uncomfortableness to sit in. And also in that way acknowledges the well intention of the other characters. Like, okay, I'm not gonna yell at you right now, but I don't like what you just said. So let's like readjust this because I care about you as a person and you mean well, but I want to smack your face. Like,
I'm at work.
yeah, exactly. And I think all of that's really interesting to think of in the future too.
Yeah.
I like the pauses and the shifts and the moments because as an actor, it made me feel like, remember, you're delivering a message, and here's the message. The message is not the same in this block of dialogue. Like it's calling it out to you to deliver lines and your feelings in a different way, and I think it's such a good thing to play with. But I also feel like it gives the audience the time to see you process a shift or a moment. They don't know what it is, but that call out, that pause, just to see maybe you physically or somehow emotionally shift in your dialogue or how you're delivering this now also opens the eyes of your audience. Because I think a lot of times when we have this conversation, when we have conversations like this, you can get angry and you can continue to ramble and just it just turns into words, like you're just saying words. But when a person can see you, okay, this tactic is not working, let me try a different tactic, I feel like it kind of gives them a snap. So I thought maybe the purpose was to give you as an actor a snap, but also understand, help the audience. You are helping the audience see that I am changing for a reason.
I also think because so many times actors have a habit of sighing to relieve their own tension or anxieties in a scene. And so these built-in shifts or moments don't let the actor just sigh out and then the scene drops out and the emotion drops out of the bottom. It would make it like, instead of like, okay, like you're like, okay, you know, like, and keep the build in the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like all that. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up here. Any final thoughts on the play? Any final things that you guys want to talk about before we kind of wrap up and sign off here? Any final thoughts after our discussion about everything?
I want to say thanks everyone so much for doing this play. Thank you, Tyler, for making us aware of the play. Thanks everyone for helping educate us, even though it's not your job. And how meta all of this even is. You know, I really appreciate it. And yeah, I definitely have a lot to reflect on and do better as a person. So,
Aw.
Thank you.
I would just say I liked it. Thank you, Tyler. This was a good one. It was different for me. It's something that will really help me in future scripts, because it made me do things that I wasn't used to doing and try things that I wouldn't try. So I just really liked it overall. Liked it. I did enjoy doing with everyone. You guys jumped in there. You did your best. People was doing one-on-one uh, position. You was playing different. Like, it was cool. Like, we got it done. Like, we went through 80 something pages. Like, we did it. So yeah, I had a good time.
Andre, you first.
It's I mean, this is what art is about, and though this is a very um toe the line subject, and you don't want to make anyone uncomfortable, and but it does make you think about, even for me as a black man, like, what are your uh intentions? What do you really need? What do you really want? If this happened to you, what is it that you want? Because I also think that one of the things we didn't talk about is also caste and the responsibility as a black person in a certain position. And when something happens to you, do you speak up? Like, okay, this may happen to some. We all have, like, when things happen to me, you don't want to, when things happen to you, you don't want to be a martyr, but it's like, but do you have a responsibility though? It makes you know what I'm saying? Like, it, you're scared because if you don't say something, this may happen to somebody else, and you may could have prevented something from happening. Or maybe the campus really needed an equality week. But this play just makes you think from every perspective. What are my intentions? What am I doing here? Even as an actor, what is the message I'm trying to deliver? And I thought it was, I thought it was, I thought it was cool. I thought it was definitely a thinker. So.
And we didn't even barely touch on Parker as a character.
Right.
And their
Yeah.
role.
Right. It's a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
It's a conversation starter, and we should have more conversations. Our friends, our families, we should all be able to have conversations. But you need to, I think this play made me think of, you kind of gotta go beyond the problem, and, like, it's not about order. It's about the right thing, and it is about justice and not making people comfortable. And this play did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this play, obviously, because I suggested it. But what is great about this play is how it impacts people. And this discussion upholds that. Everybody has a point of view. Everybody learned something, whether it about themselves or about other people. And that is so important that we don't find in a lot of theater, not to say all theater.
Right.
We find theater that is archaic, theater that is not human. But this is a very human play. It's a play that you can put just about any person in a situation and be like, oh, I've been there. I know that person. I know that person. I mean, I look at this play and I know these people. And it's a play that I would love to see the reactions of this play like 20 years in the future. Because you know how sometimes we look at plays and we're like, this shit happened 20 years ago? I don't believe it. Ain't no way.
Right.
I'm hoping that that's the kind of thing that people say when they see this play. They're like, there's no way something like this is going down 20 years ago. And we're like, oh boy, did it. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know the real tea.
Yeah.
I think this play is, but in its own sense, it's timeless because the fight of struggle, acceptance, and being heard are an endless story. It's a story that everyone deserves to be heard, that it deserves to be told. Whether you are Parker, whether you are Cass, your story matters. Your story needs to be told, and you need to be heard.
Right.
Point blank and period. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being a part of this discussion. As always, if you'd like to be a part of it, please join us at CastableNYC. You can find us on Instagram at CastableNYC. You can email us at CastableNYC@gmail.com. Thank you again for Tyler for suggesting this play. You can find this play, Well-Intentioned White People by Rachel Lynett, on New Play Exchange, along with a lot of new plays that are being published and released through there. So please go check it out. And thank you guys again for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Yay. Schitt's Creek. No one said it, so I'm going to say it.
I think there was a place for Schitt's Creek in this discussion.
Okay, I am going to stop recording.